Welcome to Toffee TV. This is the instant match reaction from Manchester City 1, Everton 1. Fantastically earned point in an absolutely mental game. I think everyone going into this game was worried, obviously, going to the Etihad Stadium, a very, very good Manchester City team. So I think a lot of people, well, I think everyone will be really happy with the point. Some people might even be slightly disappointed we didn't take all three, considering what happened in the game. The team itself, Ross Barkley dropped to the bench. It's something that we'd spoke about before the international window. It was almost like playing up to the international weekend, let it all settle down, and then when he goes out to the team, there won't be as much made about it. He went out the side. Gerard Deulofeu came into the side, and you can understand why that was. Everton, the way they played in the first half, it was very much backs to the wall, playing on the counter attack, and Gerard Deulofeu's pace in that role, on paper, you can understand why that's being done. Didn't quite work out the same way, but you can understand why that's been done. A flat three in midfield to try and be as strong as possible against the Manchester City team that we knew were going to have a lot of the ball. They're a very good footballing team, very much in the mould of the way Pep Guardiola wants them to play. Obviously, possession football is something Pep Guardiola is very much known for. So it was a case of, the back four, the three in front, being very disciplined, trying to nick the ball and then get the ball up the pitch. First half, it didn't really work as well as we wanted to from an offensive point of view, but from a defensive point of view, I thought it worked really well. They had a lot of possession, but they didn't have many shots on target. They didn't have, Stekelenburg didn't really have that many saves to make. So from that point of view, we did our job. As I say, we didn't have anything going forward, but that was more down to the players on the pitch just not doing it. The actual game plan, I can fully understand the game plan. I don't understand why people get caught up worrying about things like that. The game plan was to sit deep and try and hit them with all the pace. And when you've got Romelu Lukaku, when you've got Gerard Deulofeu, when you've got Yannick Bolasie, there's a lot of pace to occupy them, and it's almost trying to get Man City into two minds, and to think, well, hang on, look what these have got. Look what these have got on the offence, So I think it only didn't work because the players on the pitch just didn't do enough. Bolasie was losing the ball too much in the first half. Gerard Deulofeu wasn't really strong enough. Wasn't really getting to Rom. The connection, I suppose, the three of them are they are those kind of players. They're like impact players to try and do things all the time. They're not possession players. And it was hard to get the midfield runners up to them to support them. So it didn't really work, but we stifled them. Ashley Williams, absolutely fantastic at the back. You can understand, you can fully understand when you watch him why we bought him. He is everything we needed. And next to him, Jagielka's the same kind of player. Unfortunately, it was Phil Jagielka who gave away the penalty. Bit of a strange one. David Silva was dancing around the box, but Jackson, he's done this loads of times over his career and got away with it. He does that thing where he just slashes behind them without looking, and unfortunately, it looks like it's caught David Silva. He's gone down, penalty, and you're thinking, a couple of minutes before half time, the inevitable is going to happen. But Stekelenburg steps up, makes the save. Lots been said about him this week, but I'll keep my powder dry on Stekelenburg for a moment. So we go into the half time 0-0. We come out second half, and suddenly they looked like there was been a little tweak. It was almost like, lads, you've got through the first half. I just need a little bit more from you. And suddenly we started getting forward a little bit more in numbers. Ghana suddenly started nicking the ball in key areas and trying to drive forward a little bit more. Bolasie was becoming a little bit more central. It was almost like at times Ron was playing wide and Deulofeu was playing wide and Bolasie was playing central. And it started to work a little bit. And then oddly enough, the manager took Deulofeu off, who looked, he didn't react or anything, but he didn't look too happy about going off, which you can understand. He hasn't played that much. That by bringing James McCarthy on, that was almost like, well, I don't know, Jerry doesn't get through the many games, does he? Let's be honest. And maybe the manager was thinking he didn't have enough to do it. It almost felt like, maybe it almost felt like, well, we can actually handle this with Bolasie and Romelu Lukaku up front. And the forward midfield can swarm all over Man City, because obviously Man City has the game on. We're going to try and get them. The crowd were going to drive them on a little bit more. They were going to try and get a little bit more. You know, things were going to start dropping. As our players were obviously going to start tiring, because the way they were defending was absolutely brilliant. But on then the 62nd minute, the plan just completely worked absolutely perfectly. Long ball out. Balassi, I think it was Stones, pins Stones, gets a little nick around the corner, and suddenly Rom's one-on-one with the defender. You know, he takes him one way and then just finishes it brilliantly, and it's 1-0, and you're just thinking the game plan is it's worked almost perfectly. You know, as fans, we don't always see that. We want us to go to places like Man City and be like attack. You know, we don't necessarily always want to see this kind of way, but we're not Ronald Koeman. We're not. You know, we haven't had, you know, years and years and years in games of football and studied it and sat down with tactics. Or he knew what he wanted. Sometimes plans don't always work because you don't have the players good enough to deal with it, and that happens at times. But for that goal, it was almost perfect. You know, we had loads of men in midfield, defence, long ball up, and that was, you can imagine that's exactly how we thought we were going to do it. So we're 1-0 up, you know, couple of minutes, and you're thinking, well, it's a long time till this game finishes. So, you know, I think it was about 4 or 5 minutes later. You know, they brought Aguero on, and that was the worry. You look at their bench and you think, oh my God, look at their bench and look what they've got the capabilities to bring on. You look at ours and you're just thinking, okay, you know, Baines was supposed to be back and wasn't, and Oviedo had a bit of a torrent time. Just on the one-on-ones more than anything, you know, the likes of Sterling beating him with the pace, and it was just, yeah, he wasn't. He was the weakling, but oddly enough, the penalty came because of Aguero. And you can almost see it as it was, you know, you could see what was going to happen. You know, he pins himself against Jags, does the little turn and gets there before Jags, and Jags is already committed. A little bit too slow, maybe a little bit more, you know, maybe a year or so he would have got there first, but that first signs of things, age catching up, he nicks him, and it's a penalty. Aguero puts it down, and Stekelenburg does it again. First time it's De Bruyne, second time it's Aguero. Now, both of them weren't great pens, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That makes me laugh when people say it wasn't a great pen. The goalkeeper still has to, you know, if the goalkeeper goes the other way, it's a great pen. You know, it's a great pen if the goalkeeper goes the other way or whatever. Aguero, how many penalties now is that Aguero's missed? I don't know. I don't really care. But Stekelenburg's done it again. He's made an absolutely fantastic save. And it's a strong save. He's pushed it wide as well. And for all the criticism he's had, you know, in the last couple of weeks, you know, oddly enough, I was at the game on Monday. I was at the Holland-France game when the only goal was scored by, you know, probably his mistake. But he still made a couple of fantastic saves in that game. And I suppose that's what he's all about. But he's made a couple of huge saves there. And you know, you've seen things like in the Echo about them, you know, we all know, sort of, to get to that next level, you do need a next level goalkeeper, but there aren't that many about, and most of them are under contract, and he's been for me, he's been a great sign. I mean, you know, he's looked shaky at times. We all know, you know, the goal against Middlesbrough, he could have been stronger, even though it was a foul. Against Palace, he could have been, you know, it looked almost like he was flat-footed for the goal. But today, he was absolutely immense, and it's so frustrating that the way they scored as well, because, you know, we've defended all day brilliantly, really closed them down, really got about them, and it's a cross in the box and a simple header by Nolito. It would be Nolito, wouldn't it? It would be Nolito. A man I told Roberto Martinez to sign, but he didn't listen to me. And he gets a simple header into the goal, and yes, Jags is all over the place for the goal, and no one really was marking, but you can understand it was a frantic passage of play, and you know, defenders, they've worked hard all day, they've defended, and it shows. It only takes that 1 second of ill discipline on switching off. But for me, the biggest problem for the goal was the cross. I think it was David Silva. It was so easy for him to cross the ball into the box. No one closed it down. No one stopped. They had all the time in the world to put it in. So I think that's where we really should be looking at how we got this goal. But they score the goal, and then you're just thinking, oh God, because there's about 18 minutes left. Kevin De Bruyne has a snapshot from about 25 yards, and again, Stekelenburg, absolutely amazing. This is probably the best save of the. I mean, the 2 penalty saves are brilliant, but this is probably the save of the day. He pushes it onto the post. It's absolutely, it's a world-class save. It's the kind of save we haven't been seeing for the last couple of years at Everton, where you go, that saved us the game. So Stekelenburg was absolutely amazing. Man of the match. Ashley Williams was brilliant as well. There's a lot of players. Gareth Barry was, again, immense. Some players were, you know, it was a hard game, because you can imagine what the managers just sat down and probably said to them, lads, you'll probably have about 20% possession for this game, but that's the way we're going to play. And that takes a lot of discipline, a lot of hard work. Because there will be times where you just think, wow, let's go for it. And then suddenly you shipped in 3 goals. That was very much Martinez's mantra. Which, ironically, we got a 0-0 draw last season at the Etihad by being quite good. Tim Howard had a fantastic game. So, don't know, maybe the place brings out the best in goalkeepers. But yeah, Man City didn't have that many more chances after that. There were a few half chances, a few harsh shouts for penalties. We never really had another chance on goal. He brought Morales on quite late on. He brought Funes Mori on quite late on, because they put company up front. I mean, that's how much they were trying to sort of throw the kitchen sink at us. But we've worked really hard today, and we've got something out of the game. Stekelenburg, as I say, was immense. Ashley Williams was immense. I mean, and someone like Jagielka, I'm not going to be too hard on him, because the man is a good defender, and he's threw his body everywhere today. And unfortunately, it's on those couple of occasions that he's been caught out, certainly for the penalties and possibly the goal. So I'm not going to be too harsh on him, because I thought everybody at certain times today, even Brian Oviedo, I mean, every time they got one-on-one with him, he was destroyed. But what's he going to do? He can't be any faster. Maybe if he alters his starting position, then maybe he keeps them all on side. That's just the way it is. But he's still there. He's still putting his all into it. It just happens that he's not the best left back at the club. Unfortunately, the best left back at the club is injured, so it's up to the club to go out and buy better players now, and that's the way we'll improve. The squad, as we've said lots of times, it isn't good enough. But you can't fault the effort today. You cannot fault the effort. And the game plan nearly worked. It nearly worked. Nearly worked, an absolute treat. So it's a fantastic point. This was sort of like the first big challenge. Everyone's saying you haven't played anyone. This was sort of the big first top 4 team, certainly after the Spurs game. And defensively, I thought we were great. And that's the big thing to take from today's game. We moaned, and last season we all went on about it, and we said we had to be a little bit more pragmatic. Today, defensively, I thought we were brilliant. And we had a game plan that nearly nicked us the game as well. So, it's a good point. Hopefully, we go on to Burnley now next week, and we be a little bit more expansive, as you would imagine we should be. We get something there. So, yeah, tell us your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget, we'll read the best ones out in the Your Comments show on Monday. So make sure you get your comments in there and say we read the best ones out. Me and Baz will be back for the final word on Monday. We might have a very good guest, actually. A very good guest. And don't forget to catch up with Baz's reaction as well as instant reaction. Thanks for watching Toffee TV. See you later.